Where is Kessler, and why is he in this base? Hi, I'm Will Forge, and today's going to be a little bit of a short video. Going to try and get to the point a little faster this time because I'm running out of time to record it. The new episode airs tonight, so yeah. But I've been thinking this whole time since the last episode, what happened to Kessler, and why is he on that base? Kessler is the son of what's his name? Soren, that's his name. And like, why did they bring him, like, after they found him and like took him into custody? Why did the UNSC and Oni decide to move him to this specific base where the Spartan 3s are? Why would they want that kind of trail leading to here? It's possible they were just trying to lure Soren in, but they thought that Soren and Master Chief died on Reach. So why in the world would they have him here? It doesn't make any sense. If he is, for some reason, like they're expecting that he's going to grow up to become a new Spartan, that would make sense. And that would be if he genetically inherited some of his augmentations, his super soldier, serum augmentations from his father. And that's the only thing I can think of. And in the extended lore, they're the Spartan 1s. They're Project Orion, later dubbed Spartan 1s, and or at least they call themselves Spartan 1s. I don't remember if it's actually canon, it's canon that they call themselves that, but it's not necessarily like UNSC policy. I don't remember if they were ever called the Spartan 1s officially. But I think that I know the Spartan 2s were named after them being called the Spartan 1s, and you can see in the audio logs about I Love Bees audio logs, which you can go look up right now. They're on YouTube. It's a really cool, like, sort of radio show style of story. And what they did in that is they revealed that the Spartan 1s that were discharged from the military because of mental disorders caused by the augmentation process, they then proceeded to have children, and they called them Spartan 1.1s. They tried to keep it secret from the UNSC that they had special abilities, that they had inherited their augmentations, but it didn't really work out too well. They tried to capture them and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, the point is that the characters, like, it's possible that they took those characters' ideas and they moved them over, and they may have potentially cut Project Orion entirely, or just are going to have it as a backdrop, story thing, unless they do eventually introduce some of the characters that were Spartan 1s from the video games and novels. But anyway, the point is they haven't introduced any of them yet, so there's a possibility they're just not going to, and they'll cut the characters. I really hope they don't, because one of them is a main character and he's really cool. But anyway, the point is that it's possible that Kessler is now going to inherit that part of the storyline, because it's something that was never really explored in the games enough, in my opinion. It's very cool, I think, and what I would really like to see is if Kessler is a Spartan 2.1, then that means they might be keeping him on this base so that either they can eventually train him to be a Spartan, or, because he's so young right now, maybe they're going to put him through the process, and they took him at roughly a Spartan training age. They kidnapped all the kids at 6, like the Agoge from Greek history. But the really cool thing that might be what they're intending to do is that they might be trying to extract his augmentations, possibly in his blood, to create the Spartan 3 augmentation. Like, the Spartans are, the Spartan 3s are all wearing that cool SPI armor, and they're getting trained up like Perez, but they're only getting training right now, and some SPI stands for semi-powered infiltration, so it's not a fully powered armor, it's just semi-powered. And so the really cool thing here might be that they're going to also get augmentations like they did in the original novels, but they're going to do it by extracting it from potentially Kessler instead of inventing different augmentations like they did in the novels. Like in the novels, it was that the Spartan 2s had really dangerous ones that only worked if your DNA was a specific type, like you had specific traits in your DNA would allow you to survive the augmentation process. And then it might be that the Spartan 3s, in this case, in the original case, it was that they had to create cheaper versions of those that were also safer for everybody to be able to make it in mass and be able to apply it to people who didn't have those perfect genetics. The genetics weren't perfect as in they were perfect people. They were genetically perfect as in they were genetically perfect to receive the augmentations. And Spartan 3s were genetically imperfect. They were just pulled from people who wanted revenge against the Covenant, so they had to create augmentations that would work for everyone. These were inferior augmentations that came with massive side effects and, a whole bunch of problems. In this case, it might be that they're going to take the augmentations that might have been passed down into Kessler and extract his DNA, his blood, maybe make it like a stem pack and inject it into the Spartan 3s, which means whenever Soren finds his son, him and his wife find their son, in the next episode probably, they might discover that he's hooked up to devices and being blood extracted from him and stuff like that, or that they have killed him in the process of trying to extract his augmentations. Because remember, in this version, Halsey has kept all of her secrets and has left, and she has a lot more secrets than in the games and the story that she has disappeared with. Whereas in the original story, at this point, and especially back whenever they started the Spartan 3 program, which was years prior to the Fall of Reach, in the original story, all of her secrets were still inside of Oni because she was still there. So they were able to sort of like reference her stuff. But now that she's left and all of her expertise has disappeared, the Spartan 3 program can't sort of like as easily benefit from her existence, except for that, Miranda Keys is over there. But the thing about Miranda is that she seems to be researching the Forerunner artifacts. I was thinking she was going to be in the Spartan program, like part of the augmentation process, and that's what I predicted in the previous episodes, and what I did in my previous videos. But it turns out she has researched the Forerunner artifacts that her mother was previously doing. So she sort of is totally different route, you know what I mean, than what I was thinking. I was thinking she was going to be kind of doing both, Forerunner, but mostly running the Spartan program to make a bigger, better Spartan program that's better than what her mom did, so she wouldn't have to kidnap children. But they've now kidnapped Kessler, and they're still doing that, but it's only one child instead of, I guess, 70-something. So, I don't know, they're kind of moving toward more socially acceptable. But anyway, the point is that even one kidnapping is terrible, and we're about to see what happens as a result, because I bet you Soren is going to be pissed, and there are people probably going to get killed in the process. But he's, where is Kessler is my big question. If they tracked him to that base, then are they using him for the augmentation process? Is there going to be a big tragedy involving with that, or are they going to move on? Now, my one other thought that I had that I've been thinking this whole time is Perez. Perez is a name that they did use in the original games, but it was a random Marine. It wasn't like a main character. There's a Corporal Perez on Earth whenever, in Halo 2, whenever Master Chief goes back to Earth and he goes and meets this Corporal Perez. And there's just one line of dialogue that lives in my head rent-free because it was in the demo for Halo 2, and then it was also brought over to the actual game, where he just says, "Corporal Perez, A Company, CP's this way." That's all he says. That's literally the only character. That is Perez in the original series. And whenever you do see him, it's just this one-off line. You follow him through a building, and he keeps talking. He says a few things, and then you see a gigantic threat that's coming into the area, and it's scary. It's called a scarab. Anyway, the point is that Perez in the show is a Spartan 3, and it looks like she's training for a very deadly mission, and that she's basically going to be sacrificed. If she does survive this, which I would love because she's a cool character, then she might end up replacing that character, and they might have just basically had the idea, this name was in the games before, let's reuse it so that it sort of goes into the psyche of the players and lets people feel like hey, I recognize that character. And if that's the case, that's really cool. In this case, they would have gender bent him into a her. But the question now is actually, though, she has, I can't remember if they were two brothers or if one of them was a cousin or if they're both cousins, but she had those previous characters that they were at dinner with that were asking Master Chief what his high score is in the basically Halo the game inside the universe, where you get to play as a Spartan. What do you call it, Spartan Attack or something? And what I'm wondering is are they going to replace this Perez with her, or is it just a nod to a name that people recognize, or are they going to have that character come in and say that during the events of Halo 2, except whenever we get there, it's going to be one of her brothers or cousins, and by then, maybe our Perez that we know will have been killed, or maybe sacrificed herself for the greater good for mankind to save everybody, and then in response to Reach falling, and then her going and joining the Spartan 3 program and sacrificing herself, that her brother or cousin, I can't remember which, then turns around and enlists in the UNSC to get revenge and ends up being the same character, and maybe even will deliver the exact same line that's been living in my head rent-free since 2004. So yeah, who knows? I really look forward to finding out. It's I don't know, it seems so cool that they're doing these sort of references to me, and I look forward to finding out what they're actually planning to do with them later. But that's all I had to think about this for this last episode, for episode 6. And I don't know if this video is even going to need to be edited because I've been keeping it pretty tight and not really messing up too much here. So that's about it. We're gonna watch the new episode tonight and we'll react to it, and I'll do a review of it tomorrow or the next day and try and get it recorded a little sooner this time so I can get it out faster. Anyway, I'll catch you later.